All right, welcome back. This is Carrie with the Gilded Bubble, and today I'm going to be making a soap that, I don't know, I kind of designed on the fly. I'm using a couple more Mad Mica's colors. I have Satin Gray Pillowcase, which is a really pretty gray, and I have Ballet Slippers, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous pink. And I'm going to use this Earl Grey Tea from Nature's Garden. Now, however, I want to disclaim this because this shit does not smell like Earl Grey Tea. It smells very floral and like how I would imagine when you think of soap smelling like something, it smells like soap. It's a beautiful smell, but if you're looking for an Earl Grey Tea scent, this is not it, but it is a good scent. So I have in this bowl, these are my base oils. I have palm oil, coconut oil, olive oil, shea butter, a little bit of castor oil. And to that, I'm going to add my lye water solution. And then I'm going to divide this up into the satin gray pillowcase, the ballet slippers, and I'm going to do some titanium dioxide. Make sure I don't have any lint in here because that screwed up my last batch. And now we're going to mix it up. Now this I want to take just past emulsion because I'm going to do a drop swirl. And to do that, I need it pretty fluid. I don't want it to get too thick because then it's hard. You don't get pretty swirls. And you still can get a swirl, especially if you have different thicknesses, but I don't like, I don't know. I'm very particular about how I do my swirls. So you're going to see how I do a drop swirl. All right, so I'm going to divide this into 3, starting with my satin gray pillowcase. And just to double check that I did it evenly, this is going to be my white. All right, I'm not coming back to that, so I'm going to get all of that out of there. All right, so to that, so I don't need my scale anymore, so I'm going to get that bad boy out of the way. And to this, I'm going to add my titanium dioxide. Now I have about a teaspoon in here, dissolved in a tablespoon of water, and I think I'm going to put a little more than half of that in there because I want it pretty white, but I also don't want it to get chalky on me or to add too much water to it. So we'll see how that comes out. I don't want to have to stick blend it. I think I'm going to actually add all of this. A teaspoon is not too crazy when we're talking about TD here. I might stick blend that right before I throw that in there. I lied, I'm gonna need this again to do my fragrance. Look at that beautiful pink though. I mean, that's just gorgeous. Look at that beautiful pink. So pretty. And this gray, I've been dying to use this gray because I've seen it used by other soap makers, and it's just a beautiful, it is exactly what it says. It looks like a satiny gray. It's so pretty. And the other grays that I have are really kind of dark. They're very much like a gunmetal or almost like a pewtery kind of gray. This one though, just beautiful. These 3 colors are going to look great together, and they're going to go beautifully with that fragrance, which has kind of a rosy sort of tint to it. So it's going to be good. All right. I know this one's going to thicken up on me the fastest, so I'll start here. That should just blend in there really nicely. Don't really have to do much. Now I can actually move the scale out of the way. Oh yeah, that's staying nice and fluid. Like I said, I've used this fragrance before. Does not smell like Earl Grey tea, but it does smell very clean. It does, like when I smell it, I go, oh, that's soap. And so if you're looking for someone, if someone is looking for a very traditional scent, or if you want to buy this soap, it'll be ready in about a month. But actually, probably by the time you see this video, it'll be ready in a couple weeks. But if, you know, you're looking for a scent that smells traditionally like soap, this is a great, great scent for that. All right. Make sure my mold is clean. Looks all right. Oh yeah, that was from where I just set it in some oil. It's all right. Okay. So I'm going to start with this white and pour a good amount of that in there, but not all of it, because I want to get some white into my drop swirl as well. I'm going to do half-ish of my batter here, give or take a little bit more. There we go. Oops. Oh, forever spilling stuff, forever spilling. And then I'm just going to take and make sure I got everything off the bottom in this gray. And I'm just going to start pouring. And I'm going to do it at different heights. That's going to give me different kinds of swirls to it. I just love a drop swirl. I love little thin drop swirls. I love thick, blobby looking drop swirls. It just all looks pretty to me. And the different depths at which you pour it, you're going to get a little bit different type of swirl when you cut it. These are my favorite to cut open because of that. You just kind of get a surprise every time. Even though you roughly know what it's going to look like, you do always get a little bit of a surprise. And I just love that. You see those little dribbles that are on the top there, these little guys. If you see those, that's going to be a more shallow swirl than the stuff that falls down in there. So that's why I'm doing that. Probably should, famous last words on literally every soap I make, I probably should have gotten out my pitchers that had the longer spouts. It does make it easier to do this, but c'est la vie, which is like my own personal mantra for soap making. Can't really do anything with that. This will just make a really pretty swirl. I'm not too worried about it. It might look even more like an in the pot than a drop swirl the way I'm doing it, but the smell, it's okay. It smells so good. It's, like I said, it's not Earl Grey tea. It is not. If you're looking for a bergamot or bergamot, I don't know. How do you say that? I always thought it was bergamot. I thought it was a silent T like Margot. But every time I hear someone pronounce it, it says bergamot. And I looked it up and it does say that. I just don't feel like that's how it should be pronounced. I feel like we should change that. Anyway, if that's the scent you're looking for, this scent to me does not have it. It smells much more floral than that. Bergamot is a citrus scent, and so therefore should have a more citrusy. And again, Earl Grey tea has a very distinct smell. It's my favorite tea. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it is by far my favorite black tea. And I like the smell of it the most. The smell to me is the best part. And love doing like a London fog. I thought about the reason why I got this scent is I wanted to do a London fog soap. I wanted to get a soap that I wanted to do a soap that I could do a little like Earl Grey tea and lavender with maybe a little vanilla. And so I started checking out all the Earl Grey tea scents. And Brambleberry has a black tea and bergamot one that I actually really liked. However, it still didn't quite smell like I wanted. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to keep looking. If anybody that is watching this knows of a good place to get a fragrance oil that smells like Earl Grey tea, like actually smells like the tea itself. I suppose I could maybe, instead of water, use some Earl Grey in my soap. Maybe that would give it a little bit, but it's not gonna be enough. I need the fragrance oil. Maybe I just need to find like a bergamot scent. Bergamot, see, I think just bergamot sounds better. Sounds better. This is staying so nice and fluid. And every time you drop this down between those layers, you get a little drop inside that other color. So this pink is just falling down inside of that gray just beautifully. Try to get the little corners too. so that even the edges of the soap have stuff. I just don't want it to look like a muddy mess. Got to scrape. Scrapey, scrapey. Can't really steal someone else's catchphrase, but it is fun to say. This is my last little bit of white, so I gotta make it work. Especially if I want to put a little on the top. So I'm gonna save some of this to do on the top. One of the things I really like about this mold is you can kind of see from the ends what it's going to look like, and this is looking really cute, so I'm very excited about that. This is not, I'm not going to be upset, I don't think, with this design at all. Okay, got a little more pink I can pour in here, and then we're just about done. All right, here we go with my last little bit of white. And this will stay on the top really well because this white is set up just that much more than my other colors. I can do a little swirly madude on the top. Again, that is the technical term. A swirly madude is what you call a faux Taiwan swirl that you do on the top of soap. Bet you didn't know that. You learned something on my channel. There's something so satisfying about scraping the last bit of soap out of a container. I don't know why, but I love it. Made brownies last night, same thing. Just like scraping that last bit of brownie batter out of the bowl with a spatula. So satisfying. It also means there's less to clean up, so that's always nice too. All right, there's that. I'm gonna grab my fancy schmancy chopstick here and give it a swirl. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna beat it down. Just get any last air bubbles out of there. Make sure it's nice and even. And then we do this. This is so satisfying. I love anytime someone does a swirl on the top of a soap. It's just the most literally satisfying thing ever. Look at that. Now, I don't know. I'm hoping that that gray won't stay muddy like that. I'm hoping it'll come out with nice, clear definition. But if it doesn't, hey, like I always say, soap doesn't have to be pretty. It will still get you clean. I just happen to really like pretty soap. All right, that's it. I'm gonna let that sit up for about 24 hours. Then we'll come back and we'll unmold it. But looking at the sides there, this is gonna be a really pretty drop swirl, hopefully. We got some nice drops in there. But you don't get to see it until I get to see it, so sit tight. Okay, based on what I see on the outside of the soap, I'm really excited about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. Oops, I gotta get that out of the way. I'm just excited. I get excited every time I cut soap. I don't know if everyone does that, but I sure as hell do. So let's get her on there. Let's see if I want. All right, let's see this. Oh, that sound. Ah! Okay, I'm so excited. You ready for this? Oh, Look at how cute. Look at that. That is just gorgeous. And then look at the cute little top. I guess I could show that a little longer, but look at that swirl. That is just unbelievable. I'm so excited with that. Got a little bit of glycerin rivers going on in there, but not too bad. And to be honest, like I've said before, I don't mind glycerin rivers. I knew my batter was really, really fluid, so I knew I was gonna get a really deep swirl. See, there's the end of it, so I couldn't really tell what was going on with it there at that point, but I'll trim that off. I'll plane it off and it'll look a little bit better. But that is what that soap is gonna look like. And the smell, oh, it's just such a fresh, sweet smell, a little floral, a little, I think it smells kind of beachy, but again, Nature's Garden calls that Earl Grey tea. It does not smell like Earl Grey tea to me, but I'm not gonna argue with them. I'm just gonna call it something else in my store because who the heck? I love those colors together. I keep tilting it back so I can see it. I love, love, love those colors. Just gorgeous. And then there's that one at the end. I have to trim this one up just a little bit more. I didn't quite slice it all the way off, but that's okay. We will clean that up. And the next thing that you see is going to be the photographed finished product. It's gonna look great. It's gonna photograph beautifully. And you'll get to see that in 3, 2,